Welcome back, guys, or welcome if you're a first time viewer. On this podcast, we usually talk about wrestling news, paranormal stories or news, and we also talk about shoe releases or shoe news. And if that's something that you're into, subscribe and let's get into it. Okay, this week's wrestling topic is going to be storytelling. WWE has a problem lately of not being able to tell stories. I feel like they need to start worrying less about all the products that they can put out and literally just worry about the storytelling because that's why their fan base is dropping. That's why their viewership is dropping. It's because there's not enough story involvement. And I feel like a lot of these matches are thrown together out of nowhere. They're getting a little bit, but I feel like they could do so much better and so much more with these characters that they have on the show. I believe that, like I've said before, it needs to be more about the reason why more than anything, and I think that that grasps people's that grasps people's attention. And otherwise, when you watch the Unreal show, or if you watch these documentaries, you're flooded with their normal persona. So when you see them outside the ring and who they are, and then you watch them be a bad guy, you don't want to boo for them because you just ruined the kayfabe of them being a bad guy. Could you imagine back in the day having behind the scenes on The Undertaker? That would have ruined his gimmick. Okay? Because there was times, yes, there was a lot of times that he was in his get up all the time, but there were times that he was not in gimmick. And if he was acting normal, talking normal, drinking beers in public, I mean, just imagine. There was photos of them back then doing that, but nothing ever that caught him talking normal. And I feel like when you watch these shows, like I like hating the bad guys. I don't want to like the bad guys because they're bad guys. Okay? I mean, let's face it, Dirty Dom. He's a great wrestler. He's pulled off some crazy wrestling moves off the top rope, everywhere around the ring. And I watch a docu series about him, and then you're like, oh, he's a nice guy. He's just that's how he's acting like. It just ruins it because now they're just actors. It's like you watch a movie. Robert Downey Jr. isn't playing Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man. He's playing Iron Man. So it's not.
I don't know. You could argue that he is playing Robert Downey Jr.
He could be playing Robert Downey Jr., but who really knows at this point? He's so good. He's a chameleon. But that's what you are when you're an actor. You know what I'm saying? When you act, it's it's what we've been watching on wrestling lately. Acting. Acting 101. I believe that you don't want the sorrow of the audience to feel bad for you. You don't want them to say, "Oh, poor Liv," or "Poor, they're really nice people." No, in order to keep their persona, their bad guy image, they have to have that. You can't. They have to stay private at some point. Otherwise, you're just going to ruin them. And I feel like Unreal is also scripted too, to a certain extent. I feel like everything in the WWE universe is now scripted. Okay, interviews, podcasts, wrestling events, backstage, everything is scripted. I mean, I don't want to bring up this guy because I'm truly not a fan, but people used to say Hogan could go in the back, pop a pop an interview out in 30 seconds. And there was no script. All free flowing out of his own thoughts, his own mouth. Why are we not doing that anymore? Why are we having everything red? It looks fake. It smells fake. It is fake. And that's why I've been on this bash of WWE. You're taking away the value. Back in the old days when there was Dick the Bruiser and all these other guys, before even my time, when wrestling was wrestling, it is we've lost all that. The mystique, the mystique of the character. Back in the day when Undertaker was rolling around, when Stone Cold was rolling around, those personas, Razor Ramon, Macho Man. Macho Man probably got up to go pee and said, "Oh yeah, dig it." Okay, like he never stopped talking like Macho Man. Once he put that gimmick on, he never stopped. Hulk Hogan, same way. These guys, Hillbilly Jim, the Bushwhackers. Hell, I just saw a Bushwhacker in a match. The dude's like 80 years old and he still can still pull off the same kind of gimmicks. So I just feel like ruining them backstage and telling their story backstage isn't. Tell the story later when you're retired, when you have time, when you want to look back. Okay?
When you need the money.
Right. We don't need time now where you're taking up our time and making us fall in love with you as a person, or it's not. And it could be the reverse. Sometimes you get these people on camera and you can be like, "Oh, what a dick," or "What a douchebag," or "What a bitch." Like, but any which way, I think it still hurts the character and the kayfabe. I always want to make up words on this podcast, and I'm going to call kayfabeism. That's my word now, and I believe that when you break kayfabeism, you're making everybody feel emotions that they shouldn't be feeling. Okay, you're putting on a show. Why are we concerned about how they live their life? That's private. That's their life. I, I don't have my life on a TV show, and I just feel like it's too much. It's too much in-depth look at people that we really don't need to know anymore. We just need to know their characters. That is what children of all ages, from when we were kids, from when wrestling was wrestling. It's always been about the bad guy and good guy. I mean, like back in the day when Sergeant Slaughter turned heel, the world freaking stopped. Oh my god. Sergeant Slaughter's a bad guy? How in the hell did this happen?
People want him dead.
Yeah, people were sending him 100 notices a day wanting to kill him. His phone rang 300 times a day. Like, it was absolutely insane because there was no backstage look at Sergeant Slaughter walking around in jeans and a fanny pack and a t shirt. There was none of that. So that's how I feel that it should be ran today. Okay? AEW has a pretty tight lip. And I think that's where it's a little different is that AEW doesn't care about all those shows. They don't care about all that stuff. They care about putting a show on for their fans. And let me tell you, their shows are pretty stellar. I mean, I know I keep on bragging about it, and I'm not turning my back on WWE, but I'm telling you, AEW is the better product nowadays. Okay? And you can think that to a lot of past superstars. You can think that to the ownership. You can think that to the wrestling roster is pretty good over there. So it's like I feel like it's a better show. It's unfortunate that TNA is in the bucket. There's a lot of rumors running rampant that Vince McMahon has bought TNA. Don't believe it. I don't buy it. The dude's 80 some years old. He looks like Pepe Le Pew. Okay. I do not think that he is buying anything. I mean, have you seen his car wreck interview? And he was he sounded like he was drunk then. So I mean, like you really can't expect him to buy another wrestling company. He's not in his 50s and 60s where he could compete. He can't compete right now. And I mean, under the radar, I already think TKO owns TNA somehow, some way. I'm not going to say that for sure, but when it comes out in the future, you know who to point the finger at. Because I really think that all these interchangeable shows and they have characters come from both, and now they're advertising Matt and Jeff Hardy, and now they're putting them in the game. Back in the old days, they would never ever cross talk about someone, ever, from another wrestling organization, ever. That's taboo, not allowed. Right? That's competition. You don't want that. So I just feel like WWE is the back page, and now AEW is starting to take over because obviously TNA has dropped off. A lot of TNA superstars either go to WWE or AEW, but a lot of them go to AEW. And because they've already gotten a whiff of how TKO is ran. So, we'll have to see what the future produces here. And hopefully WWE catches on and keeps doing what they're doing. But there needs to be more involvement. And this backstage stuff that we're seeing, no, nobody wants it. We don't need to know them on a personal level. This isn't, John Travolta or Sylvester Stallone or any famous Brad Pitt. It's no, we're not trying to be involved in your day-to-day life, guys. We're trying to be fans. And a fan is someone who watches the sport.
I feel like when you start like adding in people and their real life story, you're like inviting those weird, creepy stalker people because they really feel like they know you after that, and they really don't.
Yes, 100%. I agree. I feel like when you involve that certain amount of level of knowing their personal life, look at how many people have stalkers. Look at how many women have stalkers in the WWE. And I don't know. I think it causes a lot of backlash in other areas. And even with these fans that are in the crowd that have this rash of them attacking the wrestlers or pushing the wrestlers or throwing stuff at them. I mean, that's that never happened back in the day. You know what happened back in the day? People used to throw papers and food at wrestlers. I don't think there was ever physical contact because, hello, these guys are all 250, 300 pounds, 6'2", probably could break you with their finger. And it's still that nowadays. Go stand up next to one of the wrestlers. Go stand up next to Paige and smack her in the face. See how quick she'll lay your ass out. Okay? Rhea Ripley. Go bat your eye at Rhea Ripley and see what she does. She'll put you in the dirt. These people are not just aesthetically muscular. They are, in every essence, strong. So, I mean, I don't know. I think WWE, you don't see that stuff at AEW. I've never seen that stuff at TNA. And if it was there, it was scripted. Okay? It was meant to happen. So, I just feel like them focusing on all these alternate stories about people, I just feel like it should be later in life. Let's have documentaries later. That'll give us something to watch about you later when we're missing you and thinking, oh, this guy's old or this girl's old. We can look back then because you're telling your story. So that is really all I got for the wrestling segment. They have done some cool things this week. I'm not going to recap, but Danhausen, he came out at a house show. Cody and CM Punk were going to fight, and Danhausen came out in a towel and a hair towel like CM Punk did. I think it was in Hell in the Cell. I don't know. I don't know. Could have been a chamber match. I can't quite remember, but it was to copy CM Punk. And, you know, I like what they're doing with Danhausen. I mean, really and truly, the best part about Danhausen is if you wipe off his makeup, he is that guy. If you wipe off that makeup, that is Danhausen. His voice is the same, the way he talks, the way he acts. I love the guy. But they're working, they have Oba, doing super feats. They have Javon doing crazy off top ropes. AAA is off the hook. Um, Unfortunately, what is going on with AAA, even though AAA is hella entertaining because WWE has their grips in it. It's becoming a little too predictable, just like WWE, and I feel like that should stop. That should stop definitely. This past weekend we had Dirty Dom tag teaming with Grand Americano. I said from the beginning, I think Dirty Dom's gonna turn. I think Dirty Dom's gonna turn. I don't think he's there to help him. And what happened? He turned on him. Just predictability. It's it's not. These are lessons that I'm talking about that they need to start picking up on because that will grab the fans. That'll make people want to watch it. Well, that's it for the wrestling section of our podcast. All right, now for our paranormal section. This story comes hot off the press. This just happened to me last week, and it actually gave me chills all over again as if I was dealing with what I dealt with when I first moved here. I yes, my house is haunted. Do I interact with it? No. I learned at a very early stage at this house that it is best not to aggravate, just to coexist. And I don't usually videotape or film anything anymore. Yes, I have cameras down there, but do we go over them every day? No. Do I go down there with my cell phone and catch stuff happening? No. When I hear stuff happening, I do not engage. Do not. So this story is, like I said, is fresh. Last week I was downstairs and I was doing some laundry, and like I said before, every time I'm downstairs, I feel the presence. I feel whatever is there. I feel it watching me. So I'm doing some wash, and I had heard something rustling, and I thought maybe it was one of our cats. Maybe one of the cats came downstairs. I'm looking around. I don't see no cat anywhere. I know it's not my dog because my dog doesn't just free wander downstairs. So I just kind of brushed off to paranormal. I was like, okay, it's probably the ghost or demon or whatever it is that lives here, and I'm just gonna hurry up and do the wash and get out of here. So now, mind you, side note, nobody else in this house has this feeling that I have. It doesn't aggravate anybody like that. It doesn't bother nobody like that. It's just me. So I'm down there and I'm hurried up and I'm throwing the clothes in there and I turn around and walk away. And as soon as I walk away, I noticed that the cellar door was open a little bit. And I do know that I was in there not too long ago, but that's not a place I go into either. Um, so I go over there and I close it and I latch it. And I go back upstairs and I'm waiting for the wash to be done. So it's like 20 minutes later, I come back downstairs and I'm doing the wash, switching it over, putting a new load in. And all of a sudden, I hear the latch. And I'm like, okay. So when stuff like that happens, I just start moving faster because I'm just not I'm not a confrontational guy. I don't want to really see this thing anymore. It's scratched me, bit me, done other things. I'm good. I'm good. I believe you. I know you're here. You can have the basement. I don't really care. So I'm trying to huff and puff and hurry up and get this stuff done. And I get done and I turn around and the door's open again a little bit. So I go over there and I go to latch it. So I go back upstairs, and like I said, this time it's a little longer. I think it was like 60 minutes, maybe 90 minutes. I waited for the dryer to be done. I went downstairs, and the door was unlatched again. So I know this thing is trying to get to me, and I really don't care because I'm just not interested. But I'm just not interested. But nonetheless, it was a very eerie feeling, and knowing that there was no one down there. My wife is not down there. Nobody else lives here. No one's playing jokes on me. It's a very helpless situation, what you feel, because you can't really do nothing to stop it. And I learned before not to record personally with your cell phone. I mean, if something really drastic happened, yeah, I would videotape it. But like these little things, it just provokes it more. It gives it more attention. And I just try not to do that. So that's our paranormal section. If you have any comments or your own stories or any of your own opinions about the wrestling segment or the paranormal segment or the shoe segment, drop a comment in the comment section and let me hear from you. We're going to move on to the shoe section, and I'm going to start off by not so much doing shoe releases for the minute. I'm just going to start off with something that has been aggravating me a little bit lately, and I've brought it up in many conversations before, and I do know that this is swirling around the internet. Nike's price range. I cannot believe that you guys are charging 200, 220, 250, 360 for these shoes. I literally was told by a friend of mine that works at Nike that said, "Hey, go check out the Nike app." And do you know the first two shoes that are in this sale section that he told me about are Jordan 3s and the Jordan 4 Toro. I am blown away that you have these shoes already marked out, which tells me that you are not pushing these shoes out like you should. They're just sitting there. I do know that the Comic Con ones, they were pretty hot, but that's a hit or miss once in a while. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not a huge fan of fours. They crease like crazy. And I mean, you can look at them and they crease. I'm a huge fan of threes, but I do have the Comic Cons and I do have the Toros. Uh, I'm I like them. I just don't like how they're made sometimes. So I think that Nike needs to bring down their prices. I think their prices are a little too high, unreachable. I understand that this is just all bullshit that I'm saying because we all know that the prices are just going to keep on going up and up and up and up and up. But I think they need to go back down to a normal number, like reality. Like Air Jordan 1 should be 120, 140. Air Jordan, you know, 2 through 12 or something should be like, between 150 to $200. I don't think any shoes should be over $200 unless they're like super collectible and you're only making 10. So, I mean, like, other than that, I think that's a problem. Now, I'm going to go into what is coming out with shoes. It's not super crazy, but I do like to keep you guys updated because they do change a lot from time to time. On the 23rd, I believe it was, or the 24th, Converse came out with a hot drop, which was the Dragon Ball Z Converse. And they had everyone from Vegeta to Goku to the Dragon, but they have multiple models. So I was lucky enough to get my wife as a collector and I got her the normal ones with the just Vegeta on the side and the 8. The other ones had the Scouter, which I thought was pretty cool, but they were sold out right away. And that's the problem. When these hot shoes come out, bye bye. Don't hold your breath because you ain't getting them. As far as shoe releases, July 30th, we have the Air Max 1000.2 in Glacier Blue. I don't. They look like a slipper to me. So I mean, if they're a tennis shoe, cool. But like they look like a slipper. So that is coming out July 30th. July 31st, we have the Air Zoom Flight, the glove, which are black and white, and they'll be coming out at 10 a.m. on that day. Do I like these? Do I like these? They're an interesting shoe. I'm always a fan of a shoe that zippers, but my thing is that I don't need a shoe that zippers anymore, so I wouldn't be really into it. I mean, at that point, you're just buying a shoe for looks, so it's an okay shoe. It's priced okay. It's only $170, so I mean that's okay. That's a workable price. On August 1st, we're gonna have the Jordan One High OG Love Letter, which I've discussed before. They come out. Now, they've dropped also now an Air Jordan 13 Retro, which is going to be navy and flint gray. That's going to be coming out August 1st. Now, I do know that there is another Jordan 13. releasing. And I'm going to tell you about that one because that one I'm super interested in. That one is the Air Jordan 13 Retro Wings. It's black and it'll be $215 and that comes out August 6th. So that will be definitely an eye catcher for me. I'll be in on that one for sure. I like that color. I like that color combo. And like I said, you know, the ways that they're dropping these shoes, they add them on sneakers. Like they could add them weekly because you go to the Foot Locker app and they'll have a pretty substantial list. They don't always have pictures. Same with Finish Line. They don't always have pictures of this shoe, but it'll tell you what's coming out. August, we don't have really anything that comes out that's attractive until August 6th, which are those Air Jordan 13 retros. And they're coming out with a woman's Dolce Air Max, which is light magenta. And that looks like that's also a slip on. So that's interesting. Looks more like a hybrid of anything, if anything. We have the Game Royal and Safety Orange LeBrons coming out. They're called Hardwood Classics. Those will be out August 7th. On August 7th, we also have the Air Force One Lows Multicolor and Sunset, which these guys look like they're straight off of a Lorax's foot. Okay? Like, it is nothing but a Lorax's. It's nothing but a Lorax's foot. Okay? Legit. And then we have August 8th, the new KD6s Meteorology, black and medium olive. I don't know. These shoes look okay. They look cool in person. Are they my style? No, I don't. I'm not into them. Now, see, this is what I'm talking about. On sneakers, it goes from August 14th to September 3rd, which that's a huge drop off. So let's go into the Footlocker app and check their releases. And I can tell you a more expansive list from that. I'm going to scroll down past August 2nd. We're going to look at August 5th. They have the Nike Air Force Lows. They're black and red smoke, which, interesting. Do they have anything that's stellar? They have a August 5th, they have the high top of that Air Jordan 1, which will be an SE and it'll be black and tough red and black. Then August 7th, we have the Nike Air Max DT 96 lows, all white, silver, and gray. You know, I honestly I like the shoe style. I just don't like the fit. They fit kind of loose. On August 8th, they're releasing the Jordan Retro 6 Oreo, which is going to be black and white. Then there's not too much that we could be looking forward to. Um, they release a lot where it's okay. August 14th, we have a Nike Air Max 2 CB94, black, royal blue, and white. Interesting shoe. I This is another shoe that fits tight to your foot, and you really would have to wear jeans or pants that go over it to accent them. August 15th, they're releasing a Jordan 3 Retro Obsidian Track Red and Blue Beyond. I don't have a picture of this. There's not a picture on here of it. So that's why I'm really kind of stopping right now. They don't really have pictures after a certain point. So you gotta wait, but that's an expansive update to what we can expect. I know there's a whole bunch of shoes coming out. A lot of people aren't happy with the Jordans that have been releasing. They're upset that they've changed them or altered them. I just believe that they need to really pick up their game. And if they don't pick up their game, it's just going to do nothing but hurt them in the long run. Of course, there's people that are still going to collect. But on your everyday buying, no one's going to buy a Jordan 3 for $250. Hate to break it to you. That's the shoe segment. And if you have any comments about anything I've said or any news that I have not put out, please comment in the section. I would love to hear it. Thanks for watching. If you've liked what you heard, then please like, comment, and share with your friends. Every bit of engagement helps get the word out. If you made it this far into the podcast, leave a tooth in the comment section. And I'll see you all next week.